USA, 1952. Across the nation, thousands of people, mainly young adults and children, fell ill with poliomyelitis, the terrible disease commonly known as polio. That year, polio killed 3,145 U.S. citizens. And even though cancer killed almost 50 times that number the same year, polio was feared above all other diseases because of its potential to cripple and paralyze young children.
Throughout the mid-1900s, tragedy spread across America in the form of poliomyelitis. Two scientists with differing views and theories regarding the best approach to developing a vaccine raced to create a safe and effective polio vaccine. Dr. Jonas Salk, often credited for the development of the first polio vaccine, used new theories and principles to expand on the work of previous researchers. At the same time, his rival, Dr. Albert Sabin, countered Salk's work by developing a unique oral vaccine. While each staunchly defended his particular vaccine, it is irrefutable that the research and discoveries of both men were essential to the near eradication of polio worldwide.
While 95% of people infected with polio experienced no observable symptoms, the 5% who did experience symptoms endured months and sometimes years of painful suffering. Polio attacks the spinal cord, often resulting in paralysis. Peg Carrot, a well-known author, was a schoolgirl in 1949 when she was struck with polio. When asked about her experience with polio, she responded, "I was scared. I knew people died from polio or were permanently disabled." Polio spread easily among densely populated cities.
When I was a little kid, my brother got it, and he was laid up for a few years.
In 1952, at the peak of the epidemic, the fear of contracting polio became so extreme that swimming pools and summer camps closed.
Our parents didn't let us go to public swimming pools. I remember that.
Children were warned to keep away from large crowds. The National Foundation for Infantile Paralysis, today known as the March of Dimes, raised money for research and treatment of the disease. The organization sent out posters and commercials to warn people of the dangers of polio, frightening many parents.
After earning his medical degree, Dr. Jonas Salk joined his mentor, Thomas Francis Jr., to study the flu virus. In 1943, they produced a vaccine containing an inactivated or killed virus strain. The idea behind the vaccine was that the human body would recognize the foreign strain and respond by producing antibodies, but because the strain was inactivated, it would be unable to cause the disease itself. This was significant as these medical researchers helped pioneer the killed virus principle.
Salk's work was mainly derivative because it was based on the research of virologist Isabel Morgan and biomedical scientist John Enders. Morgan made an early form of the polio vaccine by killing the polio virus with a chemical called formalin and then injecting it into monkeys. This protected the monkeys from polio, but Morgan discontinued her research in 1949 to raise a family. John Enders found a way to safely grow polio in a test tube. Building off of these individuals' prior discoveries, Salk began the early stages of creating a vaccine for polio. After 2 years of research and approximately 17,500 monkeys, Jonas Salk concluded that there are 3 different virus strains and an effective vaccine must contain all 3.
As Salk conducted his research, Dr. Albert Sabin and other scientists conducting research on a polio vaccine began an open line of communication with Salk through letters. One such letter read, "This is the first time they, the Foundation, have made a public statement based on work which the investigator has not yet completed or had the opportunity to present. Please don't let them push you to do anything prematurely or to make liters of stuff for Harry Weaver's field tests until things have been carefully sorted out so that you know what the score is before anything is done on a public scale." While this seemed like collegial advice, Sabin was not known to look out for Salk's best interests, and Salk knew this well. Having confidence in his vaccine, Salk decided to move forward and test it on his own family. His family members showed no signs of polio, and developed antibodies in their blood to defend against stronger polio strains.
Following these positive results, Salk, with the unwavering support of the March of Dimes, proceeded with the largest medical trial in world history. On April 26, 1954, volunteers began administering the vaccine to 1.8 million children, later known as polio pioneers, ranging in age from 6 to 9 years old all over America. On April 12, 1955, nearly 1 year into the medical trial, the vaccine was officially declared safe and effective.
Salk's vaccine is hailed as the one that saved the world, but it was not without its faults. It was expensive and required a series of 3 vaccines, as well as a booster. This protocol allowed the disease to linger among lower-class populations who could not afford the complete vaccine series. Additionally, Salk's vaccine prevented the symptoms of polio, but did not prevent people from becoming carriers and spreading the disease to other people.
Tragically, an accident with the vaccine's production occurred in 1955, known as the Cutter incident. An improperly inactivated virus led to 40,000 new cases of polio, 200 of which resulted in severe paralysis and 10 which ended in death. Despite these issues and setbacks, Salk's vaccine gave the American people some control over the polio epidemic.
While most people are familiar with the story of Jonas Salk, some experts argue that the true hero of America's battle with polio was Albert Sabin. Sabin, like many scientists of the time, firmly believed that only a weakened virus could provide immunity. However, there was a strong sense of urgency by the March of Dimes to have a vaccine available for distribution as quickly as possible. Sabin disagreed with the March of Dimes' efforts, as this urgency would favor Salk's killed vaccine over his. Sabin even went as far as to say, "You could go into the kitchen and do what he did." He did not think that Salk's uninventive vaccine deserved recognition. Sabin's vaccine used a unique mutant version of the poliovirus that was unable to produce symptoms of the disease. He created an oral vaccine and obtained permission to test his vaccine in several countries. These proved successful, and so, in 1961, the U.S. Public Health Service approved the oral polio vaccine for manufacturing and distribution in the U.S. Up until this time, only Salk's vaccine was used.
Sabin's vaccine eliminated the complication with Salk's vaccine. It was easier to administer, people who received it could not become carriers, and most importantly, it was less expensive. A study done by epidemiologists in 1959 showed that less than 1/3 of people under 40 have received the full vaccination series of Salk's vaccine necessary for full protection from polio. Most of these people were white and members of the middle or upper class. Some scientists believe that Sabin's vaccine was the one that truly led to the eradication of polio. Furthermore, the Cutter accident caused the American public to lose trust in Salk's vaccine, and Sabin's vaccine gradually gained popularity, eventually replacing Salk's vaccine.
Luckily, we haven't had polio in this country, and worldwide polio has become very rare. There have been reported cases of polio that is caused by the oral vaccine, because it's a it's a weakened live vaccine, so there is still the risk of oral polio causing polio disease.
This causes about 12 cases of polio a year worldwide. While he was alive, Sabin strongly defended his vaccine. He believed that it was superior to Salk's and refused to consider any evidence that his vaccine caused paralytic polio. However, in 1999, a federal advisory panel viewed this evidence and recommended that the U.S. return to Salk's vaccine. This finding was reconfirmed in 2009, but health departments in third world countries struggled to adapt to the vaccine's high cost and complex vaccination process. Despite the controversial usage of Jonas Salk's and Albert Sabin's polio vaccines, it is undeniable that the contributions of these scientists to both the medical and greater global communities may one day lead to a triumph over polio, a highly feared and crippling disease.